Board Game Co. And this is going to be the upcoming crowdfunding campaigns for February. We have a whole bunch to dive into, and as usual, starting off the bat with our usual reminder to go ahead and subscribe to Shelf Clutter if you haven't already. He covers these crowdfunding updates every single week, every single Sunday. You can expect a full video going through all the changes, the updates, what's new, what's upcoming, all those kinds of things, and he has the most up-to-date information, both in terms of the fact that he's covering it well in the week of, so he has newer campaigns, things that I don't even know about yet. He also has all the changes. The things I told you are going to be launching this month might be changed and are going to be launching next month instead. And then lastly, he covers more than I do as well. Because I'm doing a full month in a single video, I try to only focus on ones that I think are a little larger, have a little bit more of a presence. And so if you're looking for some of those smaller things that are worth your attention and possibly ones that might be your next hit game, he has those as well. So subscribe to Shelf Clutter, and with that, let's go ahead and start this off with our first campaign of the month, which is going to be MicroBots Duel and Power. This is from the same people who brought you Micro Dojo. They're going to be another small box game. This time it looks like they're going for a tin approach, which I drastically prefer. Micro Dojo had a two-player, head-to-head abstract game, and then they had an expansion that also gave you a bigger box so you can actually store it, so you could still have the portable in a bag form if you wanted to, but you could have a slightly larger box on the shelf. MicroBots Duel looks like they're going for a tin approach, so it's still small form, condensed, 10 pounds, $12, 10 pounds, it looks like, $12. It's going to be MicroBots Duel and Power Up. In general, as we go through this video, they are roughly organized by when they're supposed to be launching as they slowly move through the month, but I won't have exact dates for all of these. Moving on to Minigolf Designer. Build yourself a Minigolf Empire. This is the expansion, Minigolf Empire Extension. This is going to be expansion to Minigolf Designer. A game I actually hadn't heard of, but if you look at their original campaign, this is basically what you're doing. You're designing and building a mini golf course. Now, I don't know about you, but I went from I don't care about this at all to, ooh, intriguing. We're still not sure exactly how much I care about it, but anything with tiles and combining it and trying to combine and mix and match into your own little, like the idea of building out what's on the screen over there, that looks fun, and this is an extension to that. Do I know anything about it past that? Nope, that's all I have, at least so far. Then we have the Adventures of Dex Dixon, the board game. Going to be a multi-dimension noir horror game with a mystery and wandering around the board. Actually, we'll have more information about this one. I'll be covering this one hopefully shortly. But this is going to be the Adventure of Dex Dixon. This is supposed to be launching last year. I got pushed off a few times as they iterated and evolved the mechanics of the game, but we'll have more coverage for this one shortly. We have Homeworld Fleet Command. This is coming to you from Adiphius Entertainment, and this is going to be based on the video game IP, and it's going to have a bunch of skirmish matches as you take control of various sides and as you go across the board trying to control your various fleets, taking down your opponents, rolling dice, upgrading your stuff, activating your various your various units in the game, building up the right officers. Again, we'll have more coverage for this one as coming for you as well shortly. This is Homeworld Fleet Command, I believe launching February 7th. I believe that's where we're currently up to in this little timeline here. We have Statera from Fat Board Games. 10 days, 17 hours left to go, so this is going to be also launching, looks like February 7th. But this one over here is going to be launching shortly. I don't know much about this one. They have the Gamefound page up, though. There's a lot of stuff you can go ahead and see. You can see the meeples, you can see the board, this cute little scale thing. So there's a bunch more to look into. I haven't yet looked heavily into it, past the cute artwork. It's going to be like a story-based campaign game to a degree. You have a sense of story as you go through it. Story-based, 1 to 4 players. Looks intriguing, looks cool. I don't know more about it just yet. From there we have Set a Watch Forsaken Isles. This is going to be coming to you from Rock Manor Games. I believe this is launching on Kickstarter. There we go. Launching soon on Kickstarter. Set a Watch. This is the 3rd chapter in the Set a Watch board game, in the Set a Watch series. Set a Watch is a series of games which is playable solo or cooperatively. I believe it's generally rated best solo, or at least I've primarily played it solo and really enjoyed this one. But Set a Watch Forsaken Isles. It's a game about building up your campfire, having a line of enemies you have to deal with, and trying to efficiently manage your units, their activations, who's on guard, all of that, as you go through a sequence of eventually just either survival or dying instead. Forsaken Isles is going to be the 3rd one in the series. They had Set a Watch, they had Set a Watch Swords of a Coin, I believe, and then Forsaken Isles is the 3rd one in the series. Then we have Stonesaga from Games. 13,000 people following this campaign. Stonesaga is the next big box adventure game from Games. They've done Stars of Ikarios, they've done Mythwind, and now they have Stonesaga. Again, I'll have more coverage on this one you can check out, but Stonesaga basically has you and your friends wandering into a lost valley and trying to build up what you need to survive, while also dealing with the fact that there's these large behemoths kind of wandering around. If at a high level that seems like what's going on in Mythwind, high level it is. Lots of differences though. I've played both of them, and Mythwind wasn't as much for me, but at least based on the prototype I experienced, versus Stonesaga has a lot of adventuring, gathering, and survival in the game. Also, you can lose in the game as well. If you're not careful, your activity will slowly creep up, and time time will run out as you go through the game, but it's all about the encounters you're having. It's all about the goals, the sense of objective and progress that the game gives you. That's going to be Stonesaga from Games. I'll have more coverage for this one before the campaign launches, or when the campaign launches, somewhere around then. Then we have the Horror Game Show, the board game. This is going to be a noir horror game as you try to survive and, well, trying to not be slaughtered in the game. Sign contracts, buy gear, hire all you need to do. This is going to be the Horror Game Show, I believe February, I don't know exactly when, late February, maybe February 20th in this one, somewhere around there. We have Blueprints of Madkin Ludwig, a flip and sketch strategy game. This is taking obviously the Castle of Madkin Ludwig from Bezier Games, and this is instead bringing you the Blueprints of Madkin Ludwig. So it's going to be taking a game and making it into a roll and write or a sketch and write version of the game. We've seen it done before. I'm curious. Color me curious. I do like, or color. See what I did there? Color me curious. That was unintentional. But color me curious in this. I do like to play roll and writes a lot, but I will say what's intriguing is most of the time when you take a game and you make the roll and write version of it, I tend to prefer the original. I like roll and writes to stand on their own. I like, Motor City, or, Three Sisters, or Ganshan Clever. Those are all roll and writes. Hadrian's Wall, they all stand on their own. When you take a larger game and make it into a smaller one, I usually prefer the larger one. But an exception I will note is Isle of Cats. Isle of Cats is one where I prefer the smaller box instead of the large box one, so I'm very intrigued. We'll see what happens. I like Castle Madkin Ludwig, but I didn't like it enough to keep it, versus Blueprints, we'll find out. From there we have Reviving Kathmandu. This is from the same people who brought you, Chili Mafia, as well as back called Ancient Game of Nepal. This is coming to you from Lemery Games. They're coming back with Kathmandu. An earthquake hit the city of Kathmandu, and you're going to be doing some bidding, some set collection as you try to, well, optimize your score and win. Plus there's an early bird expansion coming as well. I hope to have coverage in this one. I'm not confident I will, but I hope I will. From there we have Crystal Age, a game with a bunch of modes, from solo to co-op to PvP, as you have your miniatures, wander around the board, do various things, control a powerful hero. Do various things is very descriptive. Control a powerful hero in this game. This is Crystal Age, launching towards the end of February. Additionally, we have Chomp, Sale, Couture, Juicy Couture. I can't say that word anymore, it's lost all meaning. And Mindspace. This is coming to you from Board Game Tables, or All Play, previously known as Board Game Tables. But Chomp looks like it's going to be the new one of the bunch, whereas the other three, Couture, Mindspace, and Sale, are all re-implementations. In general, Board Game Tables, what they do on a regular basis is they bring a trifecta or quadrifecta of games to crowdfunding, and then some of them are going to be reprints or, older versions or localizations of games, and they're all meant to be, specifically they focus very heavily on that accessibility, on the idea that they should be easy games to table while having a degree of depth to them to keep them engaging. So they've been continuously doing that with a whole bunch of titles, and they're continuing with these next four as well: Chomp, Couture, Mindspace, and Sale, launching late February. We have Kuiperium. Kuiperium is going to be a two-player game of worker placement and card play as you race across the galaxy to the end destination. I'll have coverage in this one as well, but Kuiperium has effectively two-player only, and every turn you're going to be playing cards, and those cards are going to give you stuff, but they also give your opponents a worker placement location. The good news is you can eventually go ahead and get rid of those cards to advance your own engine, so it's a timing conversation about playing them and getting rid of them in the right timing so that you benefit the most and your opponents not so much, all while you slowly race across the galaxy to get to the final planet using your discovery points before the opponents can. That's going to be Kuiperium. Then we have Encountered Shattered Waste, another one that I will have coverage on. This is going to be coming late February as well, I believe February 20th or 21st, somewhere around there. Encountered Shattered Waste is a game of controlling 4 of 8 heroes, or a variable number of 8 heroes. It is based, you can control as many as you want. You can control, I think you may have to control at least 2, I have to double check. But you have to control a bunch of heroes, solo or cooperative. You're going to have 8 different bosses. All your heroes and the enemies are going to have different modes to them. So the enemies, when you defeat them, they're going to turn to their harder mode, and your heroes, as they are slowly falling apart, you can either voluntarily or forcefully, depending how the game goes, convert to your harder mode and eventually start, the process of slowly dying while being more powerful for a short, brief moment in time as you try to take down the boss. This game has a bunch of bosses, various difficulty levels, and you're basically going to have a almost slightly Slay the Spire-esque, not really, aspects of it at least similar to Slay the Spire, but a lot of it is really about managing your heroes, their abilities, and the way you're going to build out your heroes using certain batches of cards that will define their playstyle as you combine them together, as you take the actions you need to ultimately take down your opposing monster before that opposing monster takes down you. That's going to be Encountered Shattered Waste, and some beautiful acrylic standees that are really worth taking a look at. You'll see them. They're very, very cool. And then from there we have Street Fighter V Champion Edition Legends. This was originally supposed to launch way back in October or November. It's been pushed off extensively, but it's currently launching towards the end of February. This is coming to you from Colossal Games. This is Street Fighter V. It's going to be a scenario-based game, which you're going to, well, not really scenario, you're going to be mixing and matching enemies and maps and villains and bosses and heroes and nemesis and all those stuff, and you're going to combine all of that to create the scenario that you're fighting through as you use your cards, as you use your playstyle, as you use your powers, as you play cards that are going to define your actions, but cards that will also be going towards your power line, where you can use them to trigger your own actions. So you're combining a playstyle, a deck of cards that has a playstyle as well as your own unique heroes' abilities, and you're trying to do all that to take down the enemies. This is a challenging game. This is no walk in the park. You have to be efficient with your actions in order to actually survive in this. A bunch of modes and maps and all these things will give you enough to mix up the experience and give you different gameplay every single time. That's going to be Street Fighter V Champion Edition Legends on Gamefound late February. And then we have over here, we have Fabled Games. Fabled Games is going to be launching, Back or Beyond. Back or Beyond is going to be launching again, late February over here. This is going to be a game as you manage your pirates and try to build up as many points as possible. Your goal is to be the most renowned pirate in the game, building up your infinity points at the end of the 5th round of play. This is coming to you from the designers of Darkest Dungeon. To be very clear, that's the designers of Darkest Dungeon. This is not from Mythic Games. Sharing designers, sharing various people who worked on the games, but not sharing the actual company. Mythic Games is a different company. I'm saying that because apparently they've been getting a bunch of questions around that, and they've had to clarify that when they say Darkest Dungeon, they're not Mythic. They're not a rebranding of Mythic. Totally different company with a few people involved who have worked with Mythic in the past. That's going to be Darkest Dungeon, not Darkest Dungeon, wow. That's going to be Fabled Games and Back or Beyond coming in Q1 2023 to Kickstarter. And then we have an Age Contrived. This is going to be a very involved game with, you're going to have a ton of tableau building of actions. You're going to have this cool system of you building up your magnetic tiles in the game. There's a lot going on as far as what you have going over here. You're going to have miniatures, you're going to have standees, you're going to have this giant cool metal contraption. We'll show you more. There's a lot of tableau building in this game as you try to upgrade your action tiles, try to be as efficient as possible, gain as many points as possible as you figure out the vast combination of things going on in this game and how you're going to optimize around them as you try to score as many points as possible in an Age Contrived. Sorry for my text message ding. Let me go ahead and mute that. But that is what we have over there as far as an Age Contrived, launching February 28th, I believe. And then lastly we have Soul of Ankiril, another February 28th game. This is going to be a 2-player head-to-head game. Might have a team mode, I don't know. Primarily designed as a 2-player head-to-head game. This is going to have both a video game, an app, whatever, as well as the board game. As you can't really see the board over here. I wish I could show you the board. This is going to have a bunch of factions, and you're going to have the board as you vie for control over the board, using a bunch of unique decks around the characters and their playstyle as you try to figure out how to take down your opponents. Effectively 2-player head-to-head skirmish / card / collectible game. Soul of Ankiril. I don't think it's really collectible in the traditional sense, at least not the board game version of it. That's going to be Soul of Ankiril. As far as the ones I'm most excited about, we have a few so far. We have I'm decently excited about Stonesaga. We'll have conversations around that, but I like what I've seen so far. I'm very excited about Encounter Shattered Waste. This has been, I have complaints to a degree based on what I've done so far with the game, but overall really enjoy it. Same with Street Fighter. Some minor complaints, but overall found this very enjoyable and very difficult. And then Age Contrived has so much going on. I'm still intrigued on this one, but again, we'll have coverage of it. You can check all that out. And that's going to be your campaigns for February. Again, a reminder to go ahead and subscribe to Shelf Clutter if you want your weekly updates. And with that, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. Hope you found this video helpful and hope you found something that caught your attention in some way, or better yet, to save your money, to save your wallet. If you didn't find something to capture your attention, that's just as good, if not better. There's always plenty of board games to play. In any case, and until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. and I hope you have a good one.